Hedge fund launched this spring is still open to investors. The Galileo Managed Sports Fund is the world's first sports betting hedge fund. Jonathan Kelly is a senior editor at Bloomberg Businessweek. He joins me now with more on the story. John, glad to see you this morning. So this is like any other hedge fund, you're saying, but it is based in London, which makes us point out that essentially the people are betting on sports, which is still illegal in the U.S. with the exception of Nevada, Oregon, Delaware.
That's right. Galileo is just like any other hedge fund. They make hundreds and thousands of transactions every week. The difference is they're betting on the outcome of soccer matches, rugby matches, and golf.
So maybe they're going to look to hire Paul, the octopus in London that called the Spain a win yesterday. But their goal is to get 50 million euros in the portfolio, right? And the buy-in is $100,000. That actually seems low compared to other hedge funds. I mean, are there lockups? Are there gates? What are we talking about as far as the terms go?
That's right. I think it's important to know that there are 20 investors already. People are taking this seriously. None of the investors are American as of right now. So it's largely a European and Middle Eastern fund. 50 million euros seems feasible, and since the World Cup started, or rather in the first 20 days of the World Cup, they increased their coffers by 10%, so they have a very good chance of getting there.
What is the premise? In other words, did they really have to struggle to get the strategy together for this fund and to justify it? Because maybe people say betting on sports, you can't have that in a hedge fund. It's not a quote-unquote serious enough business for a fund. We know in London there's plenty of spread betting shops that's gone on for years.
Well, it's a bit about, these guys are all market professionals. They will tell you, however, that they have a very fun job and they really appreciate it. On the other hand, they view this as any other market transaction. They don't simply throw money on a game and watch the duration of it. They come in at a certain odds and they decide how they're going to exit, and if they have to take a loss, they'll exit the game. If they're up 2 goals, they'll leave then, just like any other transaction.
So what you're saying is they're not really making emotional decisions that their dad is from Barcelona, so they're going to bet on Spain. They're trying to take advantage of market discrepancies like any other fund.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of lines that are influenced by home support, bias, so on and so forth, and they isolate those games and they try and use them to their advantage.
So there's a lot of, I'd say, public emotion as far as sports goes, and they try to take a look at some of the factors that maybe the typical sports fan doesn't think about.
Exactly. They took the England-Germany match from the World Cup last week as a perfect example. Home support bias for England. Galileo came in after Germany scored its first 2 goals. They exited successfully.
Do you think, or people that you're speaking with when you were doing the reporting for the story and editing the story, did they think that this is going to be more successful than a typical hedge fund? I mean, almost everybody understands the concept of sports. Even if you don't know a lot about sports, maybe the average person knows more about sports teams than that person does about CDOs.
Well, Galileo like to tell you that they're expecting 15 to 25% returns, which sounds a bit Soros-like, but they'd also like to tell you that they're expecting to find investors who aren't sports fans. They want people who want to diversify their portfolio. Sports games are not tied to the market, so they see it as a useful investment for a lot of people.
John, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having
John
me.
Kelly, editor of Bloomberg Businessweek, on that story.